for which it stands. Under God, it's all liberty and justice for all.
This is the March 27th, 2025 meeting of Egg Harbor City Council. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's been properly advertised and posted in accordance with the Public Law 75, Chapter 231. Roll call, please.
Mayor Petty,
Here.
Clark,
Here.
Dash,
Here.
Joby,
Here.
Galloway. Here. Heist,
Here.
Hesse,
Here.
Keener,
Here.
Timbers,
Here.
Wright.
Here.
Number 4 on our agenda is the mayor's presentation.
So, favorite thing to do over here is recognize good stuff that happens in Egg Harbor City. And it's even more special when it happens in our schools. Most of you sitting in this room know what great schools we have, great teachers, great administrators, and I'm so proud of our school. We've come a long way to a first, little buildings and when was the high school there?
2010
2010, but when was it the high school, you know?
in Egg Harbor City till 1960.
Building we had for 3 stories and a basement with, no air conditioning. Okay, no steps you had to walk up, so we've come a long way. Now we have a beautiful middle school, we have a beautiful, elementary school, and I'm so proud of all of you who work so hard to make our community successful, and it really does mean a lot. So, tonight, I've asked the basketball team to come, they won the, both boys and girls won the Cape Atlantic Junior High School Basketball Championship. Now, the boys have a record of, for the Mace, winning a lot, right? When my son went to community school, his class won, so you guys have a good basketball team. However, this is the first year that the girls team won. So it's appropriate, Women's History Month. The girls are gonna get called up first, and you guys are trailblazers. You're setting this example, or you girls, I should say, are setting the example for future students to achieve. So congratulations. Thank you for your hard work, and thank you for making Egg Harbor City great. So with that said, I'm gonna call up the names, and if they're not here, that's fine. We'll give it to, Dr. Forrester to take note, and I would like to introduce Dr. Forrester. Our next- I don't think she should come on.
No, she's not,
Okay.
but I have Miss Somerset here, she's the girls basketball coach.
So Miss Connolly is the athletic director. She's not here this evening, so. All right, so when you come up, just try to maybe come around this way or this way and stand over here so we can get you on the camera. And stay up here, maybe over there. We're gonna get a picture of everybody. So we'll start with the girls team. Joshua Spellman.
Come on, smile a little bit. It's not that painful.
Got to get her in the camera, Lisa.
Katina Lark.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Mayor, you want to line them up in front of us so everybody can see them on camera? Come line up in front of council. That way you can be seen on the,
Bianca Vega.
girls, just come right, just stand right in front of us. We don't care if they see us all the time.
Ritza Flores.
Yeah, they see it. They don't want to see us. Right over here in front of us. There you go.
There you go.
Sophia Van Fox.
You'd be like, I don't want no candy, I'm good.
Aaliyah Williams. Kaya Howard. Now we have your being.
Lisa, you wanna get something with the girls?
Yeah, we'll do the girls.
Girls, squeeze in here so they don't see us now. Because we don't want to be in your picture.
Yeah.
Oh. Go to.
Yeah. No, that's it for girls.
I think they're gonna win the division, people are saying.
They still have the best staff.
Stay there with your coaches.
Yeah.
Serious that last.
They sheltered. Yes.
At 8, then
They didn't have this week or so. They should be. And that was all dead. And I thought,
Hey, look here, guys. Thank you.
Don't hold it up so high. You can see.
Smile and no cash in.
Now we have the boys team. Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Good job, ladies.
So you know, you do not have to, after this, we'll take a little bit of break. If you have to do your boys, you're not obligated to stay. If you want to take your start, you're welcome, but you're not obligated. So we have the boys. In South. They signed, Carly?
Everyone's fine. Has a smile in there somewhere.
It looks like it.
Yeah.
Like the girls might be getting more. Son Johnson, D'Amber. Dropsy Banks. Watts. Aaron Brooks. Damien Moore. Aside Johnson of D'Amber. Gene Shannon.
Good job, Ryan.
Eli Valquez. And Andrew. Wayne. Down here, Figaro. Cyrese, Jesus. And Jeremiah Allen Down. Okay. We do have, I know some coaches or managers here now, yeah. I'll say their names. Candace McCormick. Alexa Molina. And we have a coach. Jordan, not yet, where does it come out?
I don't know, it's the block, it's this time.
All right, fellas, you'll just wait.
Oh, no, he's on me.
Oh, I'm your face.
All right, you get it.
Ryan, you did a nice job.
Jackie, do you want to give them to the principal? It's right there.
Are you making an announcement?
Yeah. We'll take a recess.
Yeah. What's the matter?
Oh, so you're gonna try and-
It is.
What is the, you know, schools? Basketball. Same.
Oh.
Thank you.
A lot of the boys probably had 80, right? That's probably the right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like.
Like everybody does
Mason, good job. You didn't run out of candy.
I made him get an extra bag just in case.
I don't know where the bag is.
I think Mason ate it all.
No. Every 3, I got one.
He sounds big.
Were there whoppers in there?
Just the
I
one.
didn't see any chocolate,
I don't have any chocolate.
I'll forget it.
like Laffy Taffies.
This is what kids like, though. They like that.
They're chocolate, we don't want it.
I feel like if he loads up on that, he's making all the motions.
Or he's gonna go home and run on the treadmill. I don't know. Okay.
Not chocolate, I don't waste his calories. You don't want it if it's not chocolate? No. You can send it right back down, Carl. I'm except Swedish.
Pass it down. Pass it right on.
Thank you.
Just a quick announcement, the Phillies won the home opener 7-3.
181 more to go.
Yeah. We'll resume our meeting. Number 5 on the agenda is to approve the minutes of March 13th.
Second.
Motion.
The motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, is number 6, public comment. Does anybody have any comments about any agenda items? Excluding the item listed for public hearing, because there'll be a public hearing. Okay,
No.
this is on agenda items.
Yes.
Okay,
There's no public.
I'm not sure which number, but it was about.
no, he's public comment for agenda. I said excluding.
So number 14. So just as a question, are we allowed to talk about who we're appointing yet or that? Could you share?
The mayor has told us that she appointed Jerry Barbario as our administrator. So then it would be up to city council because the ordinance for the law for Egg Harbor City is it's a mayor's appointment with the advice and consent of city council.
Okay.
So number 14 would actually do that.
And in that term, it looks like he's going to take over public works and administrative.
He's the administrator of the city,
Superintendent.
and he's also going to do what he's been doing since you left. So
Um,
working out there.
The only thing I would like to bring up and point out is last year when I guess then Council President Ritchie brought up to council about the code enforcement guy who was going to come in and take over. I guess it was like licensing, zoning, construction, the whole 9. Council, and I agree, pushed back and said, we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. Right? So it seems like we're sort of going backwards and doing that here by empowering one person here or 2 or 3 departments, whatever. I mean, that's a big job that he's filling his shoes. So I'm not sure how he's gonna do that in a 40-hour period. You
Well, one of the other-
curiosity, that's all.
Fair question. One of the other things that we're doing is hiring another person in code. And Jerry's job would be, if approved tonight, to oversee that department. So he's got a lot of experience doing it in other towns, and that was one of the reasons the mayor picked him to be that in
Well,
that position.
I've only met Jerry once or twice. I think we met at a tree program down in Atlantic City, so I haven't had many conversations with him, and I don't know him, so I don't know his history, but my concern is that we're gonna enter into a contract for multiple positions, and what happens if one of them is not met? Do we reserve the right to pull back and you maybe assign a public works?
Actually, there's an agreement circulating that has a provision in there that if we, as council, feel that it's not working out, we have an out for the contract, and so does Jerry.
Yeah, and please take no disrespect. My thing is, I know with our previous administrator a long time ago, without naming names, we were stuck in a contract with that person.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't happen here. That was discussed, and we made sure that was in the contract, and I think Jerry wanted that too, so.
And part of the job of an administrator is to oversee day-to-day operations in City Hall. So it's not an extra job pertaining to an administrator. That is an administrator job.
Well, no, I understand that, but.
So it's not like, you know what I'm saying? That's his day-to-day operation job.
So is it like a divided time wise or the?
No.
Yeah.
He's in City Hall and that's what he does.
It'll be up to him to decide on how much he spends in which department. That's as needed. There's no actual set hours at this point. So it's, you know, especially in the beginning, it's going to be a lot of hours. And, you know, Jerry seems to be very willing to do that.
I mean, my thing is going back a couple of meetings ago, Gary expressed that he could possibly be gone soon, that you guys were gonna appoint a superintendent. And one of the things he said was that it was because they needed constant supervision. So with this role here as administrator, where's the constant supervision coming from?
Well, one of the things he's doing now is part-time.
I understand.
So he's not here every day. In this new position, he would be. And he would be here every day and oversee, as the mayor said, all the operations.
Well, I've been for an administrator in this town for a long time. I just don't think this is Keith's opinion for what it's worth, right? You guys ultimately make the decisions, but for what it's worth, I don't see a dual role being the situation here, especially from a gentleman that served his time out there and said that that department needs 100% supervision all the time. And I agree with him there. So just my thoughts.
Okay, and fair enough. And like we said, if it doesn't work out, we know, and we'll have constant contact, and we'll know right away if it's not working.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I said that too. Good. I did that. Okay. Okay, so with that being said, thank you, Keith. We're gonna move that up on the agenda. So, Mayor, do you have a comment before we're gonna move up
Yes.
number 14
Sure.
to do that now?
So the city's been out without an administrator for 12 years, 12 long years, okay? Basically, the employees at City Hall, Jody, Meg, and myself, and I'm not here every day. I work from home, basically, for mayor stuff. We have taken up a lot of extra work, and right now, we have a lot going on in Egg Harbor. We have a building coming up, at the movie studio soon. We have millions of dollars, literally, in grants that have to be administrated and other things, other issues. And I think this is the time. I'm not certainly going to be mayor forever. Of course, I'm starting my 4th term, and I think it's a very good thing for the city to start to depend on an administrator and not employees and the mayor to do day-to-day operations and other things that have to be, taken care of at City Hall. So for my sanity, I think it's a good thing. And I know Meg and Jackie will be very happy to share some responsibilities that were dumped on them. And even City Council, they took extra responsibility also. They interview employees. Sometimes they have to discipline employees. And in my opinion, that's a lot for a City Council person to do. I don't believe that they're fully comfortable with it. I could be wrong, but I know I'm not comfortable with doing things like that. And that's where it would be deferred to an administrator with the council committee. So that said, we were fortunate to have Jerry, decide that he wanted to change where he works. And he fell right into our lap. Not very long ago, I think we talked to him on Friday, so this is kind of a rush situation to get it done because he does have to give a month notice to where he works now. So, Jerry comes with so many credentials, I don't even know where to start. But he knows a lot about the public works. He did public works and administration in Hamilton, the same position that he's going to be doing here. He already has done that in Hamilton. He was an administrator in New York City or New York, and he's also currently an administrator up north in
Englewood. Cliffs.
Englewood. I always get that wrong. So there's other things. Jerry's been our arborist for all last year. He works for the city as an arborist. He's been doing public work since January, I believe. So he's already employed in the city, and what we have seen him do, I think everybody's happy with that's sitting on council. I don't think we have any complaints. I can tell you, he's very knowledgeable about things that, you know, I don't even know how he knows all about this stuff, but he was out snow plowing, you know, with the snow, and there's just so many things he can do. And I just think it's the best thing for Egg Harbor City. And I would like to appoint Jerry Barbario as the administrator.
Okay, so we're gonna call on number 14, resolution to appoint city administrator / superintendent of public works.
Motion.
Is there a motion second?
Second.
Discussion?
Has discussion on the motion. Go ahead.
All right, I apologize, it can be a little bit long when we refer to my notes. I believe this proposed appointment is a result of another backdoor deal where Mr. Barberi is being slid into multiple positions without going through proper committees. I'm not against the hiring of a city administrator if it'll save taxpayers money, and nothing here is a personal reflection on Mr. Barberi. December 31st, I received an email that Mr. Barberi agreed to take a part-time director of public works job until we could hire someone full-time. January 2nd, Mr. Barberi was appointed as the part-time interim director of public works. Neither Public Works Committee nor Finance Redevelopment Committees were involved in that decision making to hire him prior to that meeting. Both Republican chairs of those committees and all Republican committee members were excluded from that secret meeting or any of the details and just prior to that meeting in which he was to be hired. These facts were admitted at the reorganization meeting and are part of public record. February 27th, Mr. Barberi was appointed as a right-to-know officer, even though at the time he was only supposed to be employed by Egg Harbor City for another month or so. When I questioned why a part-time temporary employee was being made right-to-know officer, I was told that it was only temporary and that position would end when his employment ended in the very near future. During February and early March, the Public Works Committee met several times and interviewed applicants. Mr. Barberi had a very active role in that process, and his input was very helpful in choosing the best candidates. After a second round of interviews, we chose an applicant to offer the job to do with a second and third should the first one not take the position. Apparently that offer was never made. March 19th, I emailed the committee chair and I asked what the hiring status was and was told by Councilman Dovey that he had to discuss it with Finance Committee, even though we already knew a rate that we were offering the applicant. March 24th, I had a message to Council President Keener wanted to discuss something with me. We spoke the next evening and I was informed that we were hiring Jerry Barbario as city administrator, director of public works, and code enforcement supervisor. That was the first time I'd even heard of us hiring a city administrator. So I asked why it was not advertised. I was informed that it was an appointed position by the mayor, subject to council approval. I was also told that there were already enough votes to pass it. We discussed the fact that Councilman Dovey never notified me as vice chair of Public Works Committee that he was not following the decision made by the Public Works Committee when we voted unanimously to hire someone else. Council President Peter and I spoke at length, and I was clear that I believe that it was not right how this was being handled. I asked for a copy of any contract prior to the council meeting so we have time to review it, and he agreed once it was finished being written. March 25th, I received a call from Mayor Giampetti explaining why she thought this was a good idea. And we discussed how these secret meetings are not right. Her financial numbers differed from Council President Peters' numbers significantly. As he stated, the city would save about $14,000 a year, significantly lower than what I was told by Council President Keener. Saving money is very important, but so is due diligence when hiring such an important position. This is not the way Egg Harbor City should be run. I pushed for transparency when I was first elected, and I believe we came a long way. I believe now we're heading in the wrong direction. How is it that I, as Vice Chair of Public Works, was the last person to know about us not hiring who we all voted for, and now we're making a part-time side job for a city administrator that also has to supervise code enforcement? How is it that we are not replacing the Public Works employee that left recently? How can we go from a full-time Director of Public Works to a part-time director with less employees? How can we be in negotiations for shared services, but some of us are not allowed to know any of the details? How can every Democrat agree to this, per Council President Keener, without even seeing the job description or contract prior to making that decision? This reminds me of the January 2nd meeting when Councilwoman Galloway stated Joe was the boss to all 3 Republican members of council when she was asked a question by one of us. I realize that the committees were set up so that Democrats have full control, but we should still go through the proper steps. We should table this matter until committees meet properly and make recommendations for the council to vote on. In reference to hiring the city administrator and making Director of Public Works a part-time position, we should invite the public to give input. I will vote no on this matter otherwise. I believe it's been 12 or 13 years since we've had a city administrator, so I don't see the rush to do this tonight. My only allegiance here is to the residents that we all work for. I could care less about partisan politics on the municipal level. They have no place up here on the dais. I don't hang out and talk politics or give others a hard time because of their different party. I do my job the best I can, and I vote only for what I believe is right and fair and respectful to everyone. We should be fighting for the residents and working together. But if I must fight up here every week, every meeting, I absolutely will. Please table this until we all have time to look at this property. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, I have a question. Mr. Barbario, when you got the,
Address the chair.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Mr. Keener, do you want me to address you?
you say we have to. say.
Thank you. That's your job, not Nanette's. Not no disrespect to you. When Mr. Barbario took the part-time position as Public Works Director, did he fill out an application for that job, or was he appointed because he was our arborist and you guys knew he had the qualifications and you felt he was a good fit for a part-time position?
I'm not sure about the application, and somebody else could fill me in on that, but we did have his resume, and
Okay,
we knew his qualifications at that point.
because that,
And let me just say, and Mr. Dash explained that pretty well. There was some things that I would say, but a little bit different. Because what happened back in January, as you know, January 3rd, we had a major snowstorm. And we had no one in charge out at the highway garage. So, and Keith had already left that Friday before that. So the mayor actually made the decision to have somebody in charge. So I actually went there that morning. And Mr. Molyneux was there was a couple other people there, and Jerry. And that's when I saw Jerry go to work. And I seen him organize the team. And there was some issues with some trucks and different things. We didn't have all the things we needed to attack that snowstorm. And he did an excellent job in organizing that day. And then since that day, we had another snowstorm right after that, if you remember. So our discussion, there were no backroom secret meetings. What happened was Jerry's worked for us since that point. And we have worked with him, talked to him about a lot of different things. He's interacted with everybody here at the table in City Hall.
I'm not
And
questioning.
no, I just want to say to kind of respond to the backroom meetings and stuff. We weren't doing that. What happened was we had all the intentions in the world to hire a replacement for Mr. Adams. But what happened was the situation with Jerry changed, and he talked to Mr. Dovey and told him that his job, the traveling was getting to him, and that he wanted to give that job up. And, was there an opportunity here for him to do something? So they started talking, and I guess the mayor got involved. I was away. I was actually on my trip. And when I came back, Mr. Doty filled me in on what was going on. And it just seemed like the right time. And I remember Mr. Doty saying, you know, we're looking for a code, 2 people in code to run, 1 person to run it, 1 person to work there with the 2 guys that we already have. And we're looking for a DPW superintendent. If we work together and combine that, we knew we had a guy that could do it. We knew we had a guy that had the qualifications and would be good for us as a city, not for us Democrats or against the Republicans, it's for all of us to make it where, you know, we're gonna have somebody in City Hall operating the day-to-day operations, which, as the mayor correctly said, it's been 12 years since we had that kind of.
And I don't think that's where the problem lies here. I think what my question is we are a civil service city. We hire through civil service. So when these jobs are out there, applications have to be filled out. That is the way it works. You have to fill out an application.
City administrator is a little different.
Right, city administrator is appointed, but if you're giving him the DPW job and he did not fill out an application, you can't hand him a job that he did not fill out an
He
application
already
for.
had the job.
He had a temporary
Correct.
job
And
that
we-
was temporary without an application filled out. You said he's gonna do this on a temporary basis. That's why I'm asking if he.
Well, I said, I don't know if he filled an
Right.
application out. Does anybody else know that?
He didn't.
He did.
Okay, so he did, so he can't have a job that he didn't fill out an application for if it's through civil service, because that isn't, you can't do that. That's against how civil service works. The same thing with code. You can't give him the code job if he doesn't fill out an application. From what I understand, from when I did DPW with civil service, that you have to fill out an application. That's how it works.
But we're not giving him the code job. We're,
There is no
He's gonna be-
code supervisor job,
Okay.
and not in civil service, because we had that discussion, I think, at one time.
Okay. well,
Because there
I-
isn't.
When
There
Mr.
isn't.
Keener spoke to me on the phone Monday or Tuesday, that was maybe part of the deal also, that he takes over as
Well,
code and
I-
DPW.
I tried to explain that as an administrator. When Tom Henshaw was here, he supervised every department in this building, including Public Works and somewhat of the police department, believe it or not.
So
Okay.
in my personal opinion,
Everything.
instead of phone calls here and there, what would have been a more professional way would have been to have a closed session of council where this was discussed among all council, where we could have a conversation as professionals and as adults sitting up here, where we all could talk and it could be explained to all of us, not a phone call to each different person where things get misconstrued and there's dogs barking and there's other things going on. That would have been a more professional and a better way to do this. Instead of coming here and now we're all sitting here hashing it out. I feel that's very unfair and it's also very disrespectful to Mr. Barbario to do it this way.
Well, it was a time issue, and I did say that he needs to give a month notice. And then we also have an opportunity, which I forgot to mention, because this is all just a matter of timing, that a community would like to do a shared service, and I'm sure
Exactly.
the
So
mayor,
that
I
community
mean,
knew
Joe
he was
told you
being
that.
hired as the administrator because that was done on Friday or before we even knew.
But that's
that-
why we did Joe
But that
did the
was-
phone call.
We knew that this was happening.
But we didn't know it could happen because we had to consult with attorneys and things like that. And
there
we
is no
got,
deal with, there is no deal with the other community.
no, there's no deal with
But
the other
that's, but
community.
see, this is where the issue is. I'm vice chair of Public Works. When the chair decided not to do what we unanimously voted for, he should have picked up the phone and said, hey, look, there's a change. What do you guys
I
think?
just let you know, Dash, I never got that phone call either. so
Yeah,
Just like.
and that's what I'm saying. That's why I believe that this stuff is happening behind the scenes. We know that, and again, I have nothing against Mr. Barbario. I think he's done a very good job as Public Works Director.
And I agree. I had a conversation with him a couple weeks ago where I called him and he was immediately on the situation and called me back within 5 minutes, very professional. We had a very nice conversation and kudos to him. He was absolutely perfect. But it's the way that it was done. I just feel it was very unprofessional that it wasn't, we didn't sit here and talk as adults to have it done. It was done through phone conversations. not where, okay, we're gonna have a closed session, you know, before the council meeting and we have something to discuss.
And we know that there was a meeting that didn't include finance redevelopment and didn't include public works prior to the January
In,
2nd
in
meeting.
twenty twenty-four.
Because that was stated at the January 2nd, that there was a meeting.
Well, that.
And I was on finance, I wasn't in that
I
meeting.
don't know about that. I wasn't sworn in until January 3rd.
I understand.
Right, but we were told at that meeting, when I said, how did you hire somebody for DPW? When DPW didn't have a meeting, because you hired him in twenty twenty-four, basically to start in twenty twenty-five. How did you have a meeting? And one of the council people said, well, we had a committee meeting. Well, I was on the committee, I was the chair of DPW, we didn't have a committee meeting. Well, the new committee had a meeting. Well, you can't do that if you're not the new committee in twenty twenty-four, when you're the committee in twenty twenty-five.
And then the second time
And
it
that was,
happened,
well, that's water under the bridge. We need to move on. That's what was set up here. So like, and
and
we
then
let
it's
that
happening
go.
again. It happened the second time, same exact way.
Not, that's not. what's
How did, who in Public Works Committee knew that we were going from a full-time candidate that we agreed to make an offer to switching it to a part-time position for somebody completely different that we didn't interview for?
It was
myself.
right, Mr. Day.
I understand you did it.
Yeah.
But how do you make that decision without the committee being involved?
Steve, there were a couple circumstances at the end of last week. We had selected a primary candidate. It was time to make an offer,
Several weeks ago.
but last week was when we were making the offer. I was making the offer because previously I was still recovering from surgery. So we had to check out that candidate's background one more time, which I did, with the municipality where he was located at this time. And then we were making I was recommending to the finance committee, listen, we're gonna hire this person at 90,000 if he agrees to that title, that salary, which we weren't sure he would. And we're looking at the possibility of having a supervisor in the code enforcement office. And we're getting ready to do a budget and present a budget for the coming year. And at about that time is when Jerry indicated to me that he had an interest in leaving his job. So that was early last week. And I called a meeting of the finance committee to say, listen, this is the set of circumstances. We're at the point where we need to decide whether we want to move ahead in this direction. Are you, council president, are you, mayor, ready to do it? It's the mayor's appointment. So obviously, Lisa was the most important person to be on board. She was totally on board with it. Joe was, and so was Nanette, who's also on the finance committee. That was the meeting
And
Friday.
Carlson.
And Carl's and he had been talked to by Joe.
And did you never think to consult with the Public Works Committee about changing what we decided?
That should have been the first thing.
It should.
I should have gotten that phone call before Joe got that phone call.
I felt we needed to first get a consensus that
But
that was appropriate.
that's not how committees work when a government is run through committees. The committee is where you go first. That's why we have the committees.
But this crossed,
It doesn't
It
matter.
wasn't
That's how
just public
the
works.
committees, that's how it works. The committees are where you go first. That's why we have the committees formed.
Well, once it
I
came
think
to me and I talked to the mayor, then it became a finance issue. Because the administrator would go under the finance committee. So that's when we started discussing it. So we were still, even at that point, before we started discussing it, we were still leaving the option open to hire a full-time public works director. And you guys had a candidate. So at this point, we had to make a decision and maybe we rushed it. I would say that, the committee,
Well,
It's here tonight.
when did you first learn about it? What day?
the day I came home from my trip, which would have been
Thursday. Well, we had the meeting
We had the
Friday,
meeting Friday.
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 You
yeah.
told me you were driving home from Florida when you got the call from Rick.
Yes. And so we went into action and we said, okay, can this work? And as a committee, we looked at it and we said, you know, all these pieces that we've pieced together for the salary seem to work and it made sense. So then we said, okay, how do we implement this? Because the mayor is on board as the appointing authority. And then it's a mayor's appointment with the advice and consent of city council. So as a finance committee, we're saying, hey, we like this idea. So we would, the mayor would make the appointment. So we would come here tonight, as we're doing, and have the resolution for our advice and consent. So that's kind of how it happened. It happened quickly, but it made sense to us because we were at a crossroads with these positions from code and from public works. And we were able to do this. And okay, the numbers, the difference in numbers between the mayor and me was because originally we said we weren't going to hire another person in code. So that would have been around $40,000 savings. Hiring the person in code does do that.
The part-time.
It drops it down to the 15 or 14. However, the opportunity is even better for us as a community because there's another town, and we can't say that what town it is because it's still being talked about, but who wants to do a shared service. And it would, the number that we've heard is they would share service with Jerry and share his cost up to $66,000.
So Jerry's then going to be full-time administrator,
Here.
full-time public works director here, plus part-time administrator there.
No, he's
No,
not
not
administrator,
administrator. It's a different-
just grants,
Oh, just.
grant administration,
Okay.
It's something that he can do.
yeah.
Outside of
that
that.
is-
If we were only talking about city administrator, then I wouldn't even have had any of this conversation because it is up to the
Right.
mayor. The problem that I have is we're not going through committees. Public Works Committee should have been consulted before we made any kind of offer to make anything different. We interviewed these three guys twice
Mhm.
in good faith. They came in 2 times to talk to us.
Yeah.
All 3 were very good. One was exceptional. And now it's just like, yeah, we just wasted all their time.
Well, can I just add one thing? There was a guy and we talked about this, Steve, who applied for a part-time superintendent of public works. And we had discussed, at least I had discussed that
That's early on.
early on, that might be a good way to go. The gentleman emailed me and said, would you consider part-time? I said, at this point, we'd probably consider anything. So he put in his application and like, I guess a week before, maybe the week of or the week before the interviews, he pulled his application. So in reality, you would have interviewed someone, or maybe you did. Did you interview him? Who wanted the part-time job, and that was a choice that we could have made.
Yeah, but no
So just
disrespect,
to
but
throw
but
that
that's
in there.
irrelevant because we chose somebody.
But
Maybe
you didn't have a
something.
part-time, well, we had we had a
Correct.
part-time, we didn't have a part-time.
Apologize to Steve.
Wasted 10 hours of my time, we're interviewing those candidates and never.
We didn't say we wasted our
Not
time.
wasted, but I
We
mean,
didn't waste our
without
time.
getting no information
Because
back.
we did pick 3 excellent.
Oh,
folks.
100%. And that's why we were waiting for a response that we never got.
And so I apologize to both of you that I didn't consult with you last Friday beforehand. This was moving fast. And Meg also had indicated to me that a couple of the finalists were asking what's going on. And on Monday, I said, please notify them that the city is going in a different direction. And I have a couple follow-up calls with those people scheduled for tomorrow to explain what happened.
I mean, I asked you directly what was going on.
No, at that point in time, this was not happening. Because Jerry didn't indicate to me that he was looking now to not continue in Englewood Cliffs. And if there was an opportunity here, he would be interested in talking about it. I said, well, I can't talk to you about that. That needs to be with the mayor and city council president.
It just seems odd to me that we spent 3 months researching a public works director, but we're hiring a city administrator / public works director / code overseer just in a couple days.
Well, it's a person that we know and who has worked for us for over a year.
He hasn't worked
between-
for us in this capacity for over a year.
Not this
He was
capacity,
the
but
arborist,
in the.
so that really has nothing to do with city administrator.
I know.
We had
The
one.
thing is, we seen his work over the last 3 months has been excellent. And he's done a really good job in that department. And we know, and we've talked to other people in Hamilton and other places that he's worked. We've checked references and the recommendations are glowing. So, from what we've seen, and we have a guy that we know, these people that you interviewed, I'm sure they're good people. The thing is, the difference in my mind is wouldn't you rather hire a person that you know and you know their work ethic versus somebody you don't know, that you interviewed a few times, and that's great, but this opportunity came up and we thought it was the best thing for the city moving forward. Ever since I was involved in city council, prior to me being mayor and then during my mayor term, we had an administrator, not the whole time, but I've been on city council without an administrator and I've been with an administrator. And it's so much better in the day-to-day operation of all the departments. Because there's one person in charge that you as a council person, any of us, and the mayor can go to and say, hey, we got this problem over here. Please find out what's going
And
on,
like-
take care of it.
And
come
like
back.
I said to you, when the Republicans had control, we discussed an administrator. We had that in our long-term plan, an administrator. But it didn't happen in that because we didn't.
I recommended it. I was on finance.
You're right,
committee
and we-
For 3 years, recommended it every year.
Did you, I'm sorry, did you address the council,
No, I'm addressing you.
well, you just told me,
Yeah, I don't
Thank
think
you.
she's right.
and I
Sahar.
was speaking, I was speaking.
That I was on finance for 3 years and it was for 3 years. Hiring administrator.
So
recommended,
disrespectful.
And it was just, we're
Well,
not
they-
doing that.
Okay, fair enough. The thing is, back when.
It
that
was in
happened-
the long-term plan, and we were told there was no money for it. And we were also told by Lisa at that point that she didn't want an administrator at that point back then. She was not ready for an administrator. She had.
I
had
don't
that-
recall saying that, but I know Joe Ritchie was not in favor of administrator.
No,
And
it
he
was-
made
it
it
was
verbal in public meetings.
Well,
The, one thing I would say to all that is you're right, there probably was no money.
Right,
That's
and
what
we were-
I'm saying here, all the
right,
things
and,
came together.
and we're not
when we
against an
had-
administrator. I think an administrator is a great idea because I think it's gonna take a lot of the power and give it to one person.
It's not power, it's doing the right thing on a day-to-day basis and making sure that the city is running smoothly. Right now,
Exactly.
with committee chair people, it's pretty tough. You know, everybody's got their lives. And, you know, we do things as best, I'm retired. When I'm home, I'm on the phone with Meg or Jody or Laura or whoever all day long.
Oh, I understand that.
And that isn't really what the
And
job
my,
is.
my question was, being a civil service city, does he have to have an application filled out
He can be appointed by the mayor.
for a public works?
Well, he's
For
gonna
civil
oversee,
service.
he's gonna oversee the whole city with a focus on public work. That's his,
With the
his
title
title's
of
city
public
administrator.
works supervisor, well, in here it says public works, superintendent of public works, does he have to? Can I address that to the attorney? Does
Yes.
he have to have through civil service?
The job was posted for civil service, correct?
It was posted, but he never applied for it.
for the other
He had
full-time.
full-time, I talked to Mr. Dovey, Mr. Dovey acknowledging that he was interested in becoming full-time. I think the job application would be an internal job application, however that's filled out. Civil services is going to dictate what a job application has to look like. Civil service is going to dictate that the job needs to be posted if it was. So, but-
And this is a promotion with one of our current
Well,
employees.
yeah, but for DPW
Yeah.
director, right? As to administrator is separate, and that falls outside. That's a mayor's appointment.
Right, and I understand that completely, but my concern was DPW being a civil service job. And there was never an application filled out. It was,
It was-
can you do this basically as a temporary position?
The application's internal process, the civil service requirement would be posted. as I.
But he didn't, there was no application in the very beginning either when he came on as a temporary, can you do this for a temporary position until we hire someone?
So there's an open and closing dates for the application.
But there was a resume,
Yeah.
there was no posting because it was temporary appointment in the very beginning. When the appointment became for a permanent appointment, it was posted. And he had already been acting in the position, the city had had his resume on file, and he had expressed an interest. To the extent that he didn't fill out whatever the city's application is, I can't speak to that or consider that. But he had already been acting in the job from a state civil service perspective. I don't believe that that would have ran foul of civil services. I will confirm that. But sitting here hearing what is going on, it seems that civil service will require a posting for the position, the city posted.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you clearing that up for me. That's all I was asking.
Any other questions on the motion? Okay, roll call, please.
No.
Dash,
No.
Toby,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist,
No,
Hesse,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Timbers,
Yes.
Wright,
Let me get this straight. This is gonna save the city tax money,
Yes.
and that's all on record, correct?
Yes.
And we have a zero,
We just had our budget.
we just had our budget meeting, and with these additions, we have a zero increase on the tax rate.
I'm for it. But just to put on the record that, I was told back in December that, people can't do two things, two jobs in the city, just to let you know.
Okay, so that's
Some people can't do it.
60.
Yeah,
Some people.
So motion passes. Welcome, Mr. Barbario as our city administrator. Okay,
Can I finish my report, Jeff?
Yeah, finish your report.
Sorry. Okay, so I sent my emails out for cleanup day, which is May 3rd. Did everybody on council get their email?
Yes.
Okay. There is a new business opening on 218 Philadelphia Avenue. It's called All Family Connections, and it supports children with disabilities. They do want to meet and be involved with the city, so hopefully we can set up something with them. Just a reminder, lake badges go on sale April 1st. They're $15 until after Memorial Day, and they go up to the full rate of $25. And this year, I think I mentioned it at the last meeting, we do have a resident. We have a special resident pricing for tables, and all that information is posted on Facebook and the web, correct?
97.
And Channel 97. Thank you, Meg. That's your baby. And that's all I have. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The new business, is that a nonprofit or a regular?
It's regular. I checked.
Okay, and what was the name of it?
All Family Connections. I'll forward the email out to
I don't know,
everyone.
sir, they may be nonprofit, but they rent, so they're not tax exempt,
I
like
got
for the property.
I got
Oh, right.
I was
You
just
said,
curious.
yeah,
It
you
could be a
said
tax exempt business, but. being
But
they
they're
rent,
renting.
It's not,
I got you.
the property's not taxed.
Okay.
they support children with disabilities. They have there's a whole list of things that they do. They have like art classes.
They have one more inspection.
That's
Yeah.
great to hear.
So I'll send that letter. They sent a letter. I'll send that out to council.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go into council committee reports. Start with Councilwoman Hesse with safety, code enforcement, and Rotary.
Well, safety, there's nothing. Rotary, just to let everyone know, we've been working on the Easter egg hunt and we were stuffing eggs at the last meeting. So if anyone has children ages 1 to 12, April 12th, the Easter egg hunt will be at Rotary Park. So come on out. That's all I have for Rotary. And the Code Committee, what I have is we completed the first interviews for the code enforcement training and are hoping to have a resolution for the position at the next council meeting. And also the solid waste ordinance should be updated and ready to present at the next council meeting as well. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, April 1st at 6 p.m. ACUA's Director of Solid Waste will be present to address issues we've encountered. And the second half of the meeting will be to discuss the current software systems issues with the gentleman who runs that. And lastly, it's been brought to my attention that many residents are not aware that when placing yard waste out, that you can't use plastic bags. So the ACUA will not pick up plastic bags. So what you have to do is either put them in a craft bag, the brown bags, or put them in a properly marked container without a bag, no bag, just directly. So just so everyone knows.
Mhm.
And that's all I have.
No,
Great.
I want a second.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Next, we have Councilman Dovey.
No, I-
Public Works.
So, Public Works, we just had a discussion of the process of evaluating the candidates for superintendent and what the outcome was. Again, Mason and Steve, I apologize again for not informing you as soon as we were moving in this direction. In the meantime, Jerry has continued his part-time responsibilities overseeing the Department of Public Works. And Jerry, I don't know if you have a couple specific items you want to report to everybody.
Nothing in detail. Nothing in detail, but we are gearing up for working on the fields to make sure that they're in good shape, as well as starting to work on the stuff for the lake, including the paddle boats, which the mayor wants us to make look better. So we're doing those kinds of things and just preparing for what we hope to be a very busy summer season here in Ecuador. Thank you.
That's it. Okay, thank you. Property Committee by Councilwoman Galloway and Cemetery.
Property Committee met with the Cemetery Committee last week, and the cemetery is considering erecting a kiosk to intern ashes. What do you call that?
Niche.
A niche. And we need Meg's gonna be.
Columbarium.
That's
getting
Miss,
more
that's Miss
information about
Cemetery
that.
over there.
So that might be a possibility in the future, so. I have some good news to share. Our $1 million federal grant has been reinstated, at least for this fiscal year, which ends September 30th. And we were advised that it would be up to Congress to fund it in the future. I don't know if that'll happen, but we're going to front load everything to the federal grant in the time being. We're going to put out an RFP next week for a licensed tree expert to come in and remove trees, trim trees, remove stumps and so forth. Jerry, in his position as arborist, has prepared a work plan for those removals and so forth, and they've been identified. How many in your?
I can talk a little bit about, right? If
Yeah.
I could. So based on the inventory that the Davy Resource Group provided us and completed, they have identified, and we're ready to submit to the state 97 dead trees on the streets in Egg Harbor. So those are the priority now. After that, it'll be pruning and then of course tree planting. But in that order, we need to get rid of the houses, dead trees, and then move on to the other stuff.
Jerry, while you're there, and not to interrupt your report, but you just heard the whole conversation about the administrator / jobs. What is your take on all that, and where do you see yourself in that position?
So it's
Moving forward.
taken me 22 years to become an extremely efficient employee in multiple positions. And it's not something that a new administrator, new public works manager can do. I did it in Hamilton for 7 years and continued as in a larger community in New York, 250 employees and a $45 million budget. I didn't have to run DPW, but I was involved in every capital project, including the complete rehabilitation of the sewer infrastructure, which was a $10.2 million project. So I couldn't do this if I didn't have 22 years' experience. And managing all sorts of brownfields, managing all sorts of issues with the Pinelands has been what I've been doing for my entire career. So in addition to that, with the horticulture and the trees and the arborist and the turf, I'm just hoping that in a very short period of time, you can see a real big change here in Egg Harbor City. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
That, Ms. Galloway, sorry.
Okay, so Arbor Day plans are in the works. Brenda Ruth's working on the second annual photo contest. We got 2 tremendous submissions today. They're beautiful photos. And so people can, either residents or students can submit up to 2 photos. They would submit them through our website, sustainableehc.org. The theme is, photo contest is trees throughout the season. And we'll be giving prizes for first, second, and third place of $100, $50, and $25. And the program for Arbor Day will include some poetry readings from actual poets who write for the Art Center in Hamilton. And we're looking for students to do some readings and so forth. And we're also looking for vendors or environmentally support programs. So if you know of anybody, let me know and I'll make the contact there. And the other one thing I wanted to mention is that I'm writing the newsletter. There's not much in it so far. So if anybody has anything, please get me your flyers. I got yours.
Yes.
And I'll get it into the newsletter.
Then I have a
Nick,
question.
I
You
got a
said
question.
for the photo contest, it has to be resident?
Not really.
Is it residents or students?
Students, the students we want from Egg Harbor City, but anyone really can submit
Because
a
Cedar
photo.
Creek has students from all over, so.
That's right.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So Nanette, what was the date on that again? I'm sorry.
Arbor Day is April 25th,
Okay, and
3 to 6.
I don't remember when the Peace Pilgrim was. You said
It's
April
July.
That'll be
26th?
July.
It's on the calendar.
July 9th.
Site.
No,
Her birthday's on the 18th.
23rd?
I think that's what she was.
I was gonna say 19th or something. I don't remember.
It's on the calendar though.
Okay, so April 26th and then July. I have to write that in my calendar.
Annette, I just want to tell you, the barrel will be ready for that, the rain
I was
barrel.
going to talk about that too.
Okay.
Come on. I don't have it in here.
I didn't have it in mine either. I thought she sent an email about it. Also, will you get what's on the Facebook page? Because I posted the cleanup on there.
Okay, we got.
Okay, and then the Kim's.
I got that.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nice.
Okay. Councilman Timbers, license and ordinance.
License ordinance, we're gonna meet, next week. We still have some ordinances that we're gonna be discussing, such as, trash receptacles, also, I don't know if we'll be discussing anything to do with trees. There may be some funding and that might, bring something up for that, but we'll see.
Anything else?
Aaron Hampton, that they met last week at the Rail House. They elected their officers for the year. Also, they collected dues. They discussed the citywide cleanup.
This is Aaron Huff.
Everything. Sorry. Again, they elected their officers. They collected dues. They discussed the citywide cleanup date. Possibility of a raffle. And they also discussed just cleaning up Egg Harbor City in general. They also discussed the possibility of discussing with Ms. Nanette Galloway about there's going to be an Earth Day coming up and maybe they could share a table with her. And that was it. Also, there was a land use board meeting. There is a cannabis grow company located in the industrial park, and they will be using a like a greenhouse to grow. And they were discussing possible parking issues and also possibility of expansion down the line if that was possible. I figure that that may be discussed at the engineers, report.
And the
That's
green,
it.
the greenhouse is taxable, in case anyone's wondering. I checked with Ryan on that one.
Okay, thank you, Carl. Next we have Parks and Playgrounds, Councilman Wright.
Yeah, kind of got something. I guess it could be part of city, I guess. With the market thing. Because do we not have to make a motion for them to be able to use that parking lot across the street from the lake?
I would wait till she secures the deed.
She did, it's done.
I didn't get anything. Well,
It's going through Dave.
okay.
I think she has to resubmit that application. Is that what you?
Yeah, like she'll have to do a use of facilities application, which we can do next meeting.
But she's doing that through Dave. She booked
But I
it.
mean, the use of.
Oh, okay.
facilities up-
Gotcha. Gotcha.
The change location.
Gotcha. All right, that's fine.
Is
We
that
can,
gonna hold her up planning?
I haven't heard, I don't believe, no.
If
she said she already secured-
secured it with Dave, then
It's-
she should be fine.
It's secured with Dave.
yeah,
I mean, you can mention it. if you want,
June,
but-
is it June 23rd?
June 26th.
26th. I got
Rain date
three.
the 20
28th.
28th and rain date 29th.
Okay.
I'm thinking of football, the 26th. Yeah, June 28th, which is that Saturday.
And we should have it for next.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, just that, the Green Market, like I said, wants to, do a festival out there by the lake and rent the pavilion. They did want to do it at Rodeo Park, but the problem is they're expecting like 3,000 people and 118 vendors. It was just too small of an area for that big of a capacity, as far as parking and everything else. So we reached out to her and she was willing to move it to the lake, which I think would be more beneficial for them since the proceeds, some of the money they're making is getting donated to the Roundhouse. So, she's looking to, use basically the, lake parking for the vendors after they do their stuff, and then basically across the street, the parking for people to be able to park to and then, go to the event. But she did reach out to me and ask me if I can make an announcement that she is looking for any kind of clubs in Egg Harbor City that would like to do games, like to put a table up or whatever the case may be. She's trying to make it as big as possible. She really kind of wants to try to bring that night in the park back. So that's kind of the idea of this whole thing. So we'll see how it trickles out.
Could you tell me, who is this? Who are we? I don't know.
It's
anything
the
about
Green
them.
Market.
Rory Alexander.
Yeah, Rory Alexander is her name, but the company is Green Market,
It's
flea
a-
markets.
It's a benefit flea market to raise
Yes.
funds for the Roundhouse. So
A portion, she actually
portion.
does this for a living,
Yes,
which I don't have
Yeah.
to tell you.
yeah,
Do we give a percentage?
Yes.
Or what, or any?
correct, correct.
to the Roundhouse.
Okay, he does this.
She's also looking for the landing strip field. How will
Yeah, That's
that,
what I'm talking about.
She didn't submit anything yet. so
that's
I
what
think-
she needs to use a facility for,
Correct.
for that to be cleared, who would do that? Because she said, should she go out? And I said, no, do not go out and mow that down. Don't do that. We had that issue one time.
There's
Don't.
there's one thing about that we have to check.
Because the bridge gets
The
started.
construction on the bridge, they're
When's that
gonna
get
use that
started?
lot,
Yeah.
not that soon.
Right.
Okay.
Still putting plans together.
Yeah, Ryan hasn't given me my personal
Yeah.
phone call on that yet. I get the first phone call. I'll call everybody else or email you when that's happening, but Ryan promised me I get the first phone call when they're starting construction on the bridge.
The most impacted.
So I can go get my milk and bread.
In talking with Mason, she has to submit another use of,
Facilities.
facilities and it's insurance certificate for the city,
Correct.
because, Dave Ben has the management company for the pavilion,
Gotcha.
so that would be.
Mace, you'll text her or,
I told her already that she
Yeah.
needed to do it. I texted her yesterday.
okay.
So hopefully, she never responded back saying okay or
So
anything.
she asked
but
me if she needed something through Dave and I said, no, you were fine, but I don't know if you got to her after me or before me.
I text her, I'll tell you. later.
Don't ask me when I texted her, please.
But I told her, because I know she wanted to do like a banner across Philly Ave. I told her she needed to get a permit application. She had, it takes like 30 days to get the
I
permit.
told her to check.
And that she would have to reach out and try to find somebody to, yesterday at 12:06, I talked to her. I sent her a text.
Did you say she doesn't have to talk to Dave?
No, we did talk to Dave
Mm.
and, she's got the pavilion, she's in for the pavilion. She doesn't have to fill anything out for him.
Because when in talking with him, he was talking about trash, like,
She was reaching out to ACUA to help out with the trash. That's what she told me. And then I know she had a couple questions for the chief that she was gonna reach out to the chief. I don't know if she actually reached out to you yet.
So probably once she submits that application to the city, knowing that the plans have changed, we can
Okay,
go from there.
I mean, I'll send her a text again tomorrow just to tell her that she has to resubmit the
Okay.
application and make sure.
Okay, anything else?
Other than that, just to remind everybody, T-ball, signups are still going on every Wednesday night until the 23rd, and T-ball will start the 25th of April.
And I was wondering if Crusaders could start putting this information on the Facebook page,
What do you
because
mean?
there's nothing on our Egg Harbor City.
Oh,
Facebook
probably not on your
page.
Egg Harbor City page.
But
it's just on-
it would make sense, right, to get as much as advertisement as possible.
Listen, if I could find 2 minutes in a day to be able to do that, I would be more gladly to do that, but my mind
I
is,
mean, last time I went on Crusaders Facebook page and cut something, I
Yeah.
think for football, and put it on the page because
Yeah.
nobody's putting it up.
but it's on
I'll
our,
take care of it.
yeah, it's on our page.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have Councilwoman Clark for school board.
Nothing to report, thank you.
Okay. Do you have any idea of their budget?
I gotta check the calendar when the budget meeting is,
The one-
I will attend and I'll report back.
Okay, the one thing I heard recently is that the county tax rate is going down
Mhm.
2 cents. And if we're gonna stay flat on ours, it's really gonna depend on what the school does and be nice to know where they stand, so. Okay, Chief of Police, report.
Okay, in the 2 weeks since we last met, we've had one burglary reported, one stolen motor vehicle, one theft. We've had 10 motor vehicle accidents, 3 pedestrian stops, 46 traffic stops, total of 26 summonses issued, 1 DUI arrest for a total of 11 arrests. So there's 10 other arrests, 1 DUI. 6 business alarms, 1 residential alarm, 62 crime prevention activities, 1 criminal call, 5 domestic, 23 EMS calls, 6 follow-ups, 140 property checks, 6 public service. The notice that I did not mention any firearms applications because apparently in the last 2 weeks, nobody's applied because every week your team seem to have more, but I just noticed that that's not on there. Some notable things that we have done in the last few weeks. Officer Rosenberger was, got some information about somebody in town who, got information about a guy with 2 warrants, with one of them being unlawful possession of a weapon. He was also a certain person who's not possessed. We were assisted by New Jersey State Police and Galloway detectives. He was arrested and charged with 2 counts of CDS, possession of CDS, drug paraphernalia, and lodged on those warrants. Some of our officers also conducted a car stop that resulted in the finding of a gun. They did a search warrant, and I believe they found some other drugs in the vehicle. So we've been busy. Yeah, so those are some things that have been going on. Other than that, I would like to say that April, there will be a traffic enforcement initiative. We do have grant funding from Highway Traffic and Safety for oh, they changed it. It used to be text, you drive and pay, but now it's something else about distracted driving. So there will be enhanced enforcement on our local road for that. So we'll have officers out there doing that. Other than that, because this has already been a long meeting, I'm not really gonna say much of anything else. If anybody has any questions.
Didn't you do something at the school though? I know you did the reading, the book reading, but wasn't there something after that? At the community school?
No, that was the same day, the
Oh.
random acts of kindness thing. Yeah, no, that was the same day.
Okay.
One question I do have, sorry, Gary, back to the administrator thing. Will the administrator have appropriate and appointing authority, or will that remain?
No,
with you?
it's will remain with me.
Okay,
He
so
will
you're
have,
still
he has,
statutory head of the police.
he has
department.
nothing to do with the police department. I could give him that, authority, but I
He
won't.
probably doesn't want it.
I won't do that. It's all yours.
There you go.
All right, thank you, Chief. Next, we have our CFO. Other than a flat budget, right?
Thank you, Jody.
City clerk. Okay. Engineer.
Sure. Couple quick updates. Y'all have a written report. The Archway Green was helped a little bit with their trying to get some permits.
Code will determine the electrical permits or just effectively drop off drawings tonight, so they can go through the permit. Early next week. Buffalo Avenue, everything, back and sure that they got in spring. I confirmed the application is making Max Electric for the campsite electrical services. And the application, we still haven't heard anything from finance, so I haven't called them. Pushing the door once. City Hall improvements, we're still working on design, anticipate being in spring. The IMAX Stormwater project, we made the full plan submission today. So. Just a big push, and we're gonna meet with them and try to confirm that we can qualify both for the FY25 and FY26 money. So. I'm gonna ask quickly. Weisberg Dillon, there's a approved that last meeting, so we need to, get some notices to the property owner and file a final permit for demolish structure 50 years and older. For the next week or so. Rec, we have requested that meeting, the finance requested some additional information, so we've not been in action. We have to schedule that meeting. Brownfield Development, we got an email today that they're ready to schedule a project kickoff meeting. Sorry, just sent an invitation for that, so that information for that will be coming. But it sounded like they want to do it at some point in April or early May. Yeah, the cannabis cultivator, like Paul mentioned, we have an application to construct a small like processing and building sort of an office and they store the product, and then they have an outdoor, well, not an outdoor, but a greenhouse structure. So that will be on a concrete pad. It will be a full, actual structure, but really less, intensive than some of the other bills we've gotten for indoor grows. They're trying to use more natural. And be able to control conditions of the greenhouse. So it'll be a full 3-foot fence around it. They have to submit a full security plan, including the police department, so they have access to cameras and all that. But yeah, that will be a little cul-de-sac portion. I don't know what the street was called.
Marty Wilson.
Marty Wilson.
Boulevard.
There it is. So yeah, they're right running Marty Wilson Boulevard. Tiny little parking lot, it's only 5 spaces, small building. But it's just a regular guy, sort of 9 to 5. He's not like one of the major companies who's coming in with a big financial package. He literally cried. He was so happy at the meeting that we approved it. So it was interesting to see. Hopefully he does well and get things off the ground.
Brian, I just have one question about that. Like was brought up at the end of the meeting, since it's not like really a brick and mortar and it's like, not really hard substance on the outside. Do they have to have, does he have to have more surveillance? Because of that, more like the outdoor, as we talked about, did you find out anything about
I
that?
believe all of that is regulated by the Cannabis Regulatory Commission, so he'll have to comply with their rules.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna pretend to know what they are on the security side, but from what I understand, it is more intensive, because you're allowed to do an outdoor grow.
Right, right.
City did not include that in our ordinance, so if somebody came with that, they would use variant.
Mhm.
But yeah, I imagine more stringent, security requirements. He did mention that they intended to use like AI for and infrared for to recognize like a person climbing a fence and notify immediately. So you don't have to have somebody sitting watching the camera. You would get an alert to say like it appears that someone's climbing the fence, as it's happening. So I assume that's part of that requirement.
And the other thing is, as far as the Weisbecker demo, is there approximate date or anything to?
We don't have anything yet. I'm kind of looking at Chris on notifications for the property owners. He wasn't here for the last meeting.
Okay.
Sorry, I kept. Yeah, well, the pipelines, we already had a conversation with them a while ago. And they kind of said, look, if it's an imminent health hazard, just submit it as an emergency application and kind of move forward in parallel. But at least we can talk about the process. And then we had a contact at DEP. They said if and when you move forward, just let us know. So we'll keep that in.
And the pickleball courts, you said it's complete, the base paving is complete. I still see the yellow, the white mark.
Right, so that was the base paving that they did a month or so ago, whatever it is now. They have to do a surface paving over that. We gotta talk to them about whether they want to do like a thin leveling course or something in between. In theory, you can correct all of the low spots with a surface course, but it's really hard to
follow and adjust the depth that the machine is laying the asphalt. It would be a lot easier if they just came in and did a leveling course and got it all like real close and then came back and just topped it. So we gotta talk to them about that.
So
Ryan,
that's what you're trying to do.
Gary would like to say
Yeah, I
a
was gonna
few
say.
things on that.
I'm sure you guys-
over there. Would you come up, Gary, and state your name, please?
Oh, it's gonna be long-winded.
That's why we want to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to get out of here.
Yeah.
I was over there involved with the Key Rec project, with the paving. I was over there every day when they did the base coat and when they did the first 4-inch layer on top of that. And after we got the heavy rain, I went over and spray painted all that for all the low spots. So we don't wind up with this problem when it's done, because they're gonna perform a flood test. My concern is when the flood test is done, once it's wrong, you're not gonna correct it.
Right.
It's impossible to correct.
Yeah. you gotta-
And I've seen this done on city streets, when you get a low spot, that machine goes across it, and it's gonna put 1.5 inches on there. You're gonna wind up with a drop in that 1.5 inches, and that's what we're gonna wind up with over there. And if you look, there's a load of low spots. I literally got the whole place sprayed.
That's what you're-
So I took a video of it, so look, when we're done with this project, we don't wind up with an improper workmanship. You know,
Is there a warranty on this or anything? Do they
No.
have any-
most
Like
of them
a
only
year?
supply a 1-year
Yeah.
warranty, but you gotta make sure when the flood test is done, that they're notified right away if there's a problem.
Who does a flood test?
So we.
They are.
Yeah, they have to do that once the surface paving is done. We weren't really involved in the procurement. We just sort of stepped in to help out. You guys went through a state contract to get it done, which is fine, but. The vendor, my guess is they're gonna say, well, we didn't include leveling course in our proposal. And our response to that is gonna be, okay, well, you don't have to do it. But when you pave it and there are puddles, you're gonna have to mill and overlay the whole thing. So it would be a lot cheaper to just come in and do a leveling course. And then surface pave it. You'll use the same amount of paving because it's gonna be the same profile when you're done if you do it right.
Right.
So, it's just gonna spend another hour or so running through and doing the leveling course and just getting those low spots sorted out first. And then just do a surface overlay of the whole thing.
So we can make sure that this is
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
done.
That's gonna be my recommendation to them is you should do it this way. If you wanna, try to correct the low spots, I mean, technically you have the ability to alter the thickness of the asphalt as you're running the machine. But like I said, it's really hard to figure out like, okay, the low spot starts here. Let's slowly bring it up so we can adjust and fill it more.
So you're gonna be an inspector on site, you know?
Besides Gary,
Gary,
probably
yeah.
not.
Gary over there.
I have no idea, but the problem they're gonna have that I see right now is they put all the inserts in for all the netting.
Yeah.
Now they got them set to 1.5 inches, because that's the final finished pavement. Now, if that machine doesn't get that right with those low spots, there's no way to correct it, because all those inserts are all gonna be wrong.
Well, would we be able to get someone from your office over there to
Yeah.
look at it
Yeah.
while they're doing it? Because,
Inspector out there.
we've got a lot of issues with things not being done right with paving and sidewalks and,
Yeah.
the like,
Point, we could head this off. Oh,
I mean, I
know a lot of inspectors who, watch pavement for 30+ years, so I'm
Okay.
sure we have a veteran inspector out there, meet with them before they start. Have that conversation with leveling course with the guys who are gonna do the work. It's one thing for me to talk to the guys in the office in Pennsylvania. That doesn't always translate to the
Yeah.
guys who are in the.
Mhm.
so I guess we need to know if council would be in favor of that.
Take a vote.
We have to pay Ryan. off to
Yeah.
do
You
that.
can just do it with an inspector and a general engineering budget, doesn't even be that crazy.
Okay.
Well, I heard Gary's looking for a part-time job, so.
No, Karen, retired.
Yeah,
Karen does
listen.
a good job.
You work full time for the city, okay?
right.
No, I just want to up here just to let everybody know, I know it's not time for public comment or whatever, but all the lights in the city, all the lights have been basically taken care of, the problem lights. I only have one light behind Gennaro's that's been a long time, probably a year out. And to get credits, I spoke with Jody about this, it's like impossible to find out if they issued us credits. We've had lights out for 6 months, a year, and I know Absecon has the same problem. They contacted Ryan to find out who their go-to guy was, basically to keep the lights on. So I kind of stay on it, and I have, friends that are retired with me that are back as contractors, and I kind of work with them basically to keep the lights on and get the problem lights. We finally got the one in front of Big Nelly's, if anybody remembers where that is on the main street. We got that one resolved, we got Rittenberg resolved, and we got one behind Gennaro in the city lot resolved. There's only one there left.
And all the remaining lights there's probably only like 4, 2 at Harbor Fields. They're gonna replace all the poles at Harbor Fields, the 3 laminated poles, because they're all wood, 1 fell down. So there's, it's in the making there. They already put an order in to replace all those wood laminated poles over at Harbor Fields. So
Thank you.
that should be, if everybody in the city, whether it's a private or it's the council or it's the police department, if everybody would report those lights on their app, it would keep the lights on, so we don't wind up like we did before where we had 140 lights out. I've been working on this for 2 years, literally. And to work with Exelon, it's just terrible. It's not like it was when it was Atlantic City Electric for me to get these lights on. We had to go to the BPU, and that pushed the envelope with them basically to fix the lights. And like Epsecon's having a problem out in Glassboro, they got 1,300 lights out. So everybody knows when the lights are on, it's better security. It's better for traffic, it's better for kids at night riding bicycles, so somebody doesn't get hit. So if anybody sees a light out, you can report it on an app on your phone, or I guess contact somebody here at City Hall and they can report it. It's easy to do.
Just need the number, right?
Pardon me?
It's
You
an
need the
app.
number.
Yeah, you just need the.
Yeah, you need the number.
You should have it on the website.
Yeah, you
so that
go
way
on the
it'll
app and you can bring the phone number up right on the app, and then you submit.
Yeah.
Light is out, light is
Right.
cycling, whatever's wrong with the lights. So we just had 2 major issues. One at Harbor Fields. The tap was bad. That light was out in the back at Harbor Fields for the longest time. And over on the terrace where the Lloyd Winberg building is on Atlantic Avenue, that whole terrace was out. And what evidently happened is the triplex came down either from a tree or a storm in some period of time. It could have been down for 6 months or a year, we don't know. But when I finally reported the light and they sent somebody over there, they really realized that there's no wire there. It was knocked down, cut in the clear, never put up. So all those lights feeding the church and the alley were all out. Well, they're all back on.
Thanks.
Thank you, Gary, really.
And
Well, maybe we can
thank-
keep posting it.
I just want to thank the city.
And that's your answer to why the pole bill was more expensive than the electric bill.
Yeah, there you go. 140 lights out, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I just want to
thanks.
thank the city workers. I worked along with the city workers and Jerry over at the ball field, and we got the top capping on the fence, 900 foot installed. So the first day, they sent Junior over and Johnny, and we got 300 foot on, and the next day, we had an extra guy. We got Tyler over there with 4 of us, and we did the other 600 foot. So the whole top and fence is secured, and tomorrow,
You weren't supposed to say that.
the bottom will be secured.
At an unknown day and time.
So, because what's happening is on the bottom, all the rings that they put on are not commercial grade hog rings. And from the kids kicking the fence, all those rings are off. So now they're gonna put actual certified hog rings on the bottom.
So you initiated this? Did you initiate this?
I kind of did a fence inspection when it was done. so-
Thank you again. Yes.
Thank you,
And
Gary.
the football, the baseball fields are in
Gary,
great
Rick's
shape.
call-
I want
Rick's
to thank
calling
the
you.
city, for helping us with those couple of projects. Last year, we got 50 ton on the Babe Ruth, we got 50 ton on the Gavin Field, and this year we put 75 ton on the Little League field.
Did you put any on Babe Ruth or no?
Last year, we put 50
Oh,
ton,
so you're
Yeah.
not doing any this year?
That's what I said, the
Yeah.
base.
so they're all done, so,
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
all right.
And I would add about a light situation, we have to follow up with the bridge lighting before it starts.
I got this
Okay,
determination.
all right,
Ryan's determination on that. She's good there.
all right, thank you.
Is this the bridge from the school?
Yeah.
From
The
school?
boardwalk,
The
I'm
boardwalk?
sorry.
Yeah.
I'd like to.
Number 12 on the agenda is the city attorney report, no report. Okay, number 13, motion to approve the American Cancer Society 53rd Bike-a-thon. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, second.
Motion's been made second, all in favor?
Can I mention one thing about that?
Sure.
This is the American Cancer Society Bike-a-thon from Philadelphia to Atlantic City, or where's it going this year? I don't know, but
I don't know.
I helped my uncle form your very first
Did you?
bike-a-thon. And there's a great story that goes along with that.
What year?
53 years ago.
Oh.
I'll tell you someday.
Okay,
Sure.
I thought you were gonna
Not
tell us
now,
that.
but-
Yeah.
Okay, opposed? None opposed, motion passes. Okay, number 15 on the agenda is the budget appropriations to reserve transfers.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, roll call, questions? Anybody have a question?
Clark,
Yes.
Dash,
Yes.
Joby,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes,
Timbers,
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
okay, motion passes. Number 16 on the agenda, authorizing certain utility refunds.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, questions? Roll call.
Clark,
Yes.
Dash,
Yes.
Joby,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Hesse.
Yes.
Keener,
Yes,
Timbers,
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
okay, motion passes. Number 17 on the agenda is refund certificate of occupancy inspection fees for the Bandy Group LLC. They made a duplicate payment of $75. Roll call.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made, and seconded.
Clark,
Yes.
Dash,
Yes.
Joby,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes,
Timbers.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
motion passes. Number 18, resolution fiscal 26 municipal alliance grant. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion made, and seconded, questions? Roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Dash,
Yes.
Joby,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes,
Timbers.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
motion passes. Number 19, pay the bills.
Make a motion.
Second.
Second, third.
Motion made, seconded,
Clark,
roll call.
Yes.
Dash.
Yes.
Joby,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Hesse.
Yes.
Keener,
Yes,
Timbers.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
okay, motion passes. Number 20 on the agenda is comments, Mayor?
I did forget to mention one thing in my report that I had an opportunity to attend Cedar Creek today. Talked to 200 freshmen in 4 groups, 4 Karen went to represent the NPP, and Colette, the librarian, also went to do whatever's going on in the library to get volunteers. So this was really about getting volunteers. So I did manage to get a list of probably maybe 20 or so volunteers, as did Colette. I will make a list, and if anyone would like to get a volunteer, I'm happy to give a paper for community service if you need it.
We use a lot of those kids at the,
So, yeah, and these are freshmen, so that would be a great thing for the Crusaders too. So I'll make that contact list, and hopefully I'll be able to share it with everybody, or if you need help somewhere, just let me know and I can send that out. And that's all I have. And welcome, Jerry. Thank you for agreeing to be our administrator. I'm looking forward to it.
He was daydreaming about missing the Parkway.
Nobody's gonna miss that.
Okay, council comments, we could start down this end, Councilman Clark.
Nothing at this time.
Councilwoman-
Thank you.
Councilwoman Heist,
Nothing. Thank you.
Councilman Dash,
No, I said nothing.
Councilman Doty,
No, nothing.
Pro Tem Carl, Timbers,
Let's go Phillies.
Councilwoman Hesse.
I just want to say congratulations and welcome, Jerry.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gallo.
Welcome on board, Jerry. I'm sure you're gonna do a fabulous job. I'm looking forward to it, because I don't know if you realize how many meetings we attend, but hopefully they'll be cut down, maybe in half. So, well, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Wright.
No.
Good. The only thing I have to say is, we were remiss at the last meeting to mention that one of our former councilwomen, Peg Resch, passed away, and her funeral was last week. She was on council for like 6 years back in the 90s, and very nice lady. Number 21 on our agenda is public comments. Anybody else have any comments? Please state your name.
Hi, my name is Pam Fuentes. I just wanted to say, hi, Steph, Mrs. Penny, thank you guys for coming, all are welcome. I just wanted to say, Joe, what you had to sit here and deal with was a lot. I'm sure everyone will see, but you handled it very well.
Thank you.
Had it been the other president, totally different, because he's quick to cut everyone off, so I love that. Love the way the new board is run, the way it should be run. You treated everyone up here with respect, regardless of Republican, Democrat. That's the way it should be run, so I love that. For this, for this minute, this new year going forward, hopefully it stays like that. As far as the comment being made, why should everyone be up there barking like a dog? Sometimes people like to do that because they like to get patted on the back later on Facebook, it's just the way it is. And again, I like to say thank you to Councilwoman Clark for just keeping her cool, because we already knew the numbers were headed. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You do well. Thank you. Oh,
Thank you.
thank you again for the lake. I'm sure, you'll see a more packed lake this year. Thank you.
Hooray.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kim.
Thank you. Anyone else? No other comments? Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion made,
Second.
seconded.
Resident.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Meeting